It was a chilly Sunday morning when a little girl stood on the corner of a crowded park, clutching an old violin almost too big for her tiny hands. Her fingers were red from the cold, her shoes had holes, and her eyes, those deep, hopeful eyes, told stories of dreams too big for her world. A man in a designer suit walked by, sunglasses on, his steps confident and proud. He was a millionaire used to being admired. When he noticed the little girl playing her scratched-up violin, he laughed. "Play something good," he said mockingly. "If you can impress me, maybe I'll adopt you." The crowd chuckled. The girl looked down, her lips trembling. But then she raised her bow, closed her eyes, and began to play. And what came next, no one was prepared for. Hey everyone, welcome back to Whispers of Goodness, where we share real and inspiring stories that remind us of the power of kindness and the beauty of the human heart. If this story touches you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. Your support helps us keep spreading goodness around the world. Now, let's begin the story. The man's name was Edward Mason. He owned luxury car dealerships across the country, lived in a mansion overlooking the city, and had everything most people dream of. But for all his wealth, he had grown cold. He believed money was the only thing that gave life meaning. That morning, he was cutting through the park to meet a business partner for brunch. He hated wasting time, especially on things he thought were unproductive. But as he passed the fountain, he heard the faint sound of a violin, fragile, uncertain, yet filled with emotion. He turned and saw her, a little girl maybe 8 or 9 years old, wearing a faded pink coat and a wool hat that didn't quite fit. Her violin looked like it had been rescued from a trash can. She was trying to play "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." People walked by, tossing a few coins into her open violin case. She smiled at each one, thanking them softly. Edward smirked. "What a waste of time," he muttered. But something about her innocence, her determination, made him stop. He approached her, pulled out a crisp $100 bill, and waved it. "Tell you what," he said, loud enough for people to hear. "If you can play something that really impresses me, I'll adopt you. You'll never have to stand on the street again." The people nearby laughed awkwardly. The little girl froze, unsure if he was serious. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't say a word. Then she took a deep breath, wiped her eyes, and whispered, "Okay, sir, I'll play." She lifted the violin to her chin, her bow trembling slightly. The first note came out shaky, but then, as if something inside her broke open, the music changed. It was soft, haunting, and pure. The melody seemed to rise and fall like a voice crying out for something lost but not forgotten. People began to stop and listen. A jogger took out his earbuds. A mother lifted her child so he could see. Even the birds seemed to quiet down. Edward stood frozen. He had never heard anything like it. When she finished, the park was silent. Then came applause, soft at first, then louder, echoing through the park. The little girl lowered her violin, her eyes glistening. "Did I do okay?" she asked timidly. Edward didn't speak. For the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him, something he thought he had lost long ago. Compassion. He knelt down beside her. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Lily," she said. "My mom used to play the violin. She taught me before she got sick. Now I play so I can buy her medicine." Her words hit him like a punch to the chest. Edward didn't know what to say. He had spent thousands on a single bottle of wine, millions on cars, but this little girl was fighting to buy her mother medicine with a broken violin. He sat on the park bench beside her as she carefully placed her few coins into a small pouch. "Where do you live?" he asked. "Down on Maple Street," she said quietly. "In the old shelter. They let us stay there because Mom can't work anymore. I play here every weekend. People are kind sometimes they're not." Edward swallowed hard. "And your father?" She shook her head. "He left when I was a baby." The man who once mocked her now felt ashamed. His throat tightened. He realized his joke wasn't just cruel, it had come from a place of emptiness in himself. "Lily," he said gently, "would you let me hear one more song?" She smiled. "Sure." This time, she played "You Raise Me Up." The melody floated through the park like sunlight breaking through clouds. Tears welled up in Edward's eyes. He turned away, embarrassed. But it was too late. The people around had noticed. The proud millionaire was crying. When she finished, he took out his wallet, pulled out every bill he had, hundreds, maybe thousands, and placed them carefully into her violin case. But Lily shook her head. That's too much, sir. He smiled faintly. No, Lily, it's not enough. He asked if he could drive her home to her mother. She hesitated but finally nodded. When they arrived at the shelter, he saw the truth of her world: cracked walls, the smell of disinfectant, and a woman lying on a thin cot, her face pale but kind. "Mom," Lily whispered, "this man heard me play." Her mother smiled weakly. "I told you your music would touch someone's heart one day." Edward knelt beside her. "Mom, I'm Edward Mason. I think your daughter is extraordinary. I'd like to help." The woman looked surprised. "Help? We don't accept charity." "Sir," he shook his head, "this isn't charity, it's gratitude. Your daughter reminded me what I lost a long time ago: kindness, hope, and love." He offered to pay for her medical treatment, to move them into a proper home, and to get Lily a new violin. But he didn't want to take them away from each other. Instead, he wanted to become a friend, a guardian angel of sorts. Weeks passed. Edward visited them often. He took Lily to music lessons, bought her a beautiful violin, and helped her mother get the care she needed. The more time he spent with them, the more his life began to change. He stopped thinking about profits and started thinking about purpose. His employees noticed he smiled more, listened more, and even started a charity program for children in need. One sunny afternoon, Lily performed at a local fundraiser Edward organized. She stood on the stage, her new violin gleaming under the lights. The crowd fell silent as she began to play the same song she had played that first day in the park. "Somewhere over the rainbow." But this time, her notes weren't filled with struggle. They were filled with joy, gratitude, and hope. Edward stood in the front row, tears streaming down his face. When she finished, he was the first to stand and clap. After the performance, a reporter asked him, "Mr. Mason, what inspired you to start this foundation?" He smiled and looked toward Lily. "A little girl reminded me that kindness is the only thing that truly makes us rich." Years later, Lily became a professional violinist. She performed around the world, sharing her story wherever she went. And every time she told it, she ended with the same words: "I once met a man who thought money was everything. But when I played for him, I learned something too, that kindness can change even the coldest heart." Music didn't just save my mom's life, it saved his too. Edward Mason never stopped supporting her. In his final years, he said that meeting Lily was the greatest investment he ever made. Kindness has a way of finding us when we least expect it. It doesn't always come wrapped in perfection. It often comes through broken violins, small hands, and quiet courage. When you choose to be kind, you don't just change someone else's day, you change their story, and sometimes you change your own. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember Lily and Edward. A little kindness, a little listening, can turn mockery into miracles and loneliness into love. Because kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can buy a lifetime of meaning. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who could use a reminder that goodness still exists. And don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Goodness for more inspiring stories just like this. Together, let's keep whispering goodness until the whole world listens.